G'day punters, welcome to the Sydney preview show for Randwick, and we're back for 2021. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome back to the fold Mark Shean. Mark, how was the off-season for yourself?
Not too bad. We've had some drier tracks, so things have settled down. Canterbury's playing a lot better since the last time we spoke, where we put the knife into it, but it's turned right around. So things are looking rosy.
Yeah, is there any reason for that? I have noticed that on the Friday nights that it's been playing a little bit kinder, but do you think that is any
they did
reason?
some renovation work, I think, Peter, and it certainly has worked because the track has turned around. Look, you think it was a different track to what was offered up there for about 10 months, and now it's racing pretty perfectly.
It was the meeting after we stuck the boots in, it started becoming good. And I got a text from Brett Devine, who's the media manager at the ATC, who I used to know back in our Darwin days. And after about race 5 that night, he texted him and said, "Oh, are you watching this tonight, mate?" And I'm like, "Oh, God, you know." It doesn't matter if it's a jockey, horse, even an inanimate object like a racetrack. If you pot it, it comes good.
Just shows the power of Mark Shean's dulcet tones, I'm sure. Mark Rhoden, thanks for joining us once again. It's been, a solid little week for yourself. You picked out a couple there at wherever it was earlier in the week. I can't even remember.
It was Kenzo Wednesday. Almost went for a bit of glory in race 1 at Gosford yesterday. Didn't like the favourites, and the 66-1 pot almost knocked them off. Got quite close, but in front for the week and looking forward to tomorrow.
Very good. And Jack Dickens, you haven't stopped since we last spoke. I think it's been betting every single day and night. So we're recording on a Friday because we're both paying attention to the glory land that is Pakenham last night.
Yeah, what a joint. We got done in the last, but we didn't get done on Gutsy, which if you got beat on Gutsy, who should have won by, I think it paid $680 on the fair, the winner.
Yep.
What a way to go to bed, yeah. There's a bit of rain already down here and potentially more to come. So 2 pretty vulnerable tracks to rain on the day with Valley and Caulfield. So probably tread pretty carefully.
Yep, indeed. We'll have a look at Caulfield later in the show, but we'll start off with Randwick. We'll preview the Quaddie leagues, races 6 through 9. But just before we do that, we'll just touch on race 5, the Millennium for the 2-year-olds, because we're mentioning quite a few of the 2-year-olds as they came to hand last spring and then into the summer. And we've got Profiteer here as a short favourite. I'm sure everyone's probably heard Mick Price's arousal during the week regarding this horse, and it's gone up $1.80. Mark Shean, I'll just throw to you. Do you have any thoughts on race 5 as it presents at this early stage?
Well, look, he's had trial up here, and he seemed to get round the inside grass there at Rosehill pretty well, which is a tight track, a lot tighter than the course proper at Randwick. He ran very fast sectional time. The third horse in the trial, Halal, won very impressively on Wednesday on the Kensington track, so it does seem to stamp the form somewhat. And there's a few in this race. Sneaky 5 certainly hasn't trialled very well up here, in my opinion. And Ashima is second or third pick, and just a run the other day, sweated up badly, hasn't grown much with the break. So I don't know that it's got a lot to beat, really.
Okay. And just looking with an eye towards the Blue Diamond and Golden Slipper, do you have a clubhouse leader at this stage? Any update based on the last couple of months?
Length picking herself at the moment, I think, for the Blue Diamond. Sydney might be a little bit different if she comes through that run, and maybe we get wet tracks, I don't know. But I think 4 Moves Ahead was one of the ones recently which did win quite well, had trialled outstandingly going into that. So it's one I'm looking out for. Godolphin's been pretty quiet with theirs, so maybe a couple will come through in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, let's jump into race 6, shall we? It's the Eskimo Prince Stakes, Group 3 over 1,200 metres. North Pacific's gone up favourite. Best available is $2.30 from Peltzer at $5.50 and the Face at $7.50. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself for race 6.
Look, I don't think he's trialled as well as he did last time in North Pacific, but having said that, he's still probably got the best form in the race and is suited at the conditions. Peltzer's drawn in a pretty awkward spot here. Looks to be a lot of speed underneath him, so he may be a little bit vulnerable from that draw with Vranelli and also the Face going forward. I think a lot depend on how these horses parade on the day. North Pacific has had 2 trials and was pushed out hard in the second one, whereas a couple of runners later in the day, Ollie Kirk and them have only had 1 trial, and Mount Popper, the other one, who they weren't asked to do a great deal. So I'm thinking that this horse is probably a little bit more forward. But having said that, just wondering why he trialled so well last time in and has probably looked a little bit more dour this time in.
With a horse with a profile like North Pacific Market, and you see it pushed out in a trial, is that a slight knock or a positive?
Well, it might be the fact that he wants a little bit further this time in. Like, he did sprint well fresh and win over 1100 last time in. He is going to 1200 here first up and probably is heading towards a Doncaster or a Randwick Guineas, you would think. So maybe he's looking for a little bit further, but the fact that there's going to be so much pace in this race might actually play into his hands.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, do you have North Pacific as a back or a lay at this stage, or just neutral on the horse?
At this stage, neutral. He's hard to get away from. He's so well placed in this. With the speed from, I don't know, the likes of Belieber and Vrinelli and even the face all pushing on, I imagine it probably sets up okay for him. Yeah, as I say, he's hard to get away from. I was intrigued. I mean, he was entered for the English race as well, and they've decided to split him in Ollie Kirk, whether I think they can win both. I mean, obviously, well, they've got the short favourite in both. Obviously, they do. I think that's probably the reasoning behind that, rather than having them clash in the big race. Yeah, it's just going to be a pricing issue and very much a yard issue, as Mark touched on. I'll get the mail from Rob in the last 10 minutes. I'm not going to be charging into it. I mean, 230 is the very best you can get. He's actually shorter in most places, I think, currently. Certainly not going to be sailing into that early, but having said that, hard to get away from. Peltzer, Naps, Paulie. Next in my market's Prague. I mean, then you've got to really invent an improver like, I don't know, Never Talk or something like that, you know, who really do have to find a fair bit.
I reckon On the Lead might improve here with blinkers on.
Yes, blinkers on the lead. Good point, yeah.
He ran a couple of good races last time and went to Melbourne, came back, ran second to Wild Ruler in the Brian Crowley, then failed at his next run on a wet track, but he probably had enough by then.
Yeah.
I thought his trial was okay, and the blinkers going on might switch him on.
Yeah, that Wild Ruler one.
Trial in the blinkers?
He did not trial in the blinkers, no.
Okay, so it sounds like overall race that we'll probably spend a bit of time reviewing on Monday. We'll go to race 7, sprint race over 1200, open class, and that horse that we were just mentioning, Ole Kirk's gone up $2.40 across the boards. Dame Giselle's $3.80, the Bopper $6.50 upwards for the rest. Mark Rhoden, I'll just start with yourself in terms of the speed map. How does it look to yourself?
Speed map, yeah, there's a bit of pace here. Milkovich really only knows one way. The Bopper's speedy as well. Asamu jumped in front last week and was, or last start, and was restrained. I expect him to be trailing the speed again, along with the likes of Rule of Law, perhaps Bella Nicotina. A lot of those, Ole Kirk's probably of the ones that get back best placed, I think. He's drawn 7, you know, virtually middle gate. Some of these others like Prime Star and Dame Giselle, I assume they're going to go be conservative with Prime Star from that gate. You know, they might end up 3 wide, either facing the breeze or in the 3 wide line, which might not be the end of the world, but they will just have a bit of work to do, or a few decisions to make early. Thought Ole Kirk napped okay from 7.
Okay. Mark Shean, what are you doing this price here on Ole Kirk?
I think he'll win. I think the pace sets up for him because Malkovich is going to run them along. He'll run about 34.5 for his first 3. And I think that was the only danger with Ole Kirk, that, you know, that it was a sit and a sprint and he got back. But I think the fact that they're going to go so fast will play into his hands here. He sprinted well fresh in the past. He won the Talented at his first start, ran second to Anders when he had 59 kilos on a leader's track last time in. So I think first up he's fine. The thing that worries me with Dame Giselle, she was racing the same horses every race last time in. Hungry Heart, Vangelic and Thermosphere. She only fell in against Thermosphere after getting a soft lead last time. That worries me slightly. I know she has had the stronger trial, but I'd prefer to be on Ole Kirk.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, the price for yourself for Ole Kirk?
Yeah, it's backable. I think I agree. I think he's backable, and I think Dame Giselle's too short. Yeah, they were pretty high fillies races she was running in early last spring. Just running against Hungry Heart, who's been prepared for a mile every time, and you know that fillies division wasn't strong in my opinion. I mean, she's a nice filly, but that wasn't much she was racing against. I'm Ole Kirk by a good space from Dame Giselle, and then, I mean, these are, Prime Star's the other one who's got a bit of ability, but yeah, most of these are either unsuited at 1100 or, just out of midweek company, in my opinion.
It does get the big jock upgrade too, all that, Kirk. Is 240, do you take that price now, or do you want to see it parade first, Mark?
Oh, I think if you can see parade first is obviously a massive advantage if that price is still there at the same time. But, yeah, look, even if he's 3/4 fit, I think it's still a decent bet.
Yeah,
Is it one of those days in Sydney? So, like, traditionally, my experience, like this weekend in Melbourne, is a tread carefully, watch, and you're going to learn a stack heading towards the next month, and you can sort of do your nuts if you force it here and you try and this horse will be right first up, this horse will be here first up, blah blah blah. If you take a more relaxed attitude to the races this weekend in Melbourne and really review, you can get a good platform for the next month. Is it a similar setup in Sydney this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of times you can just watch a race and learn from it for down the track. You can fall into a bit of trouble with these meetings, but I think if you watch this horse parade and get some sort of a guide how fit he is, I think, you might have an edge on the day, but it can be a tricky day, no doubt.
You are playing the short end of the market, and with both these horses, even if you have a stronger preference for one than the other, they're both around the 240 and shorter mark. So, you're having to have a sizable bet to get anything out of it. Can't let you go, Dicko, without mentioning what was that jockey upgrade, W Pike off? That's what you're alluding to with Ollie Kirk?
Would you not agree that's a huge switch?
I don't think Jay McDonald was ever bad. I know you had issues with W Pike down in Melbourne during your sojourn down there.
Hey, Ollie Kirk was one of our biggest results. We were on.
And he rode it like Jay Pike that day, I might add, too. It was a great ride in the Guineas.
Yeah. It was a great ride. He's capable of great rides. Ollie Kirk suits him. If he was on Dame Giselle, well, problems.
Okay.
He's still living up here is W Pike in Jay Dickens' head. Rent free. We'll go to race 8, 1600 metres, all-time legends, short again. Best available only at one joint, $1.80. Mount Popper, $3.90. Order again, $7, and then Shared Ambition, $8. Mark Shean, looking at the price for all-time legend versus Mount Popper, are you siding one way or the other?
Well, look, all-time legend will get a walk in the park in front here. There is absolutely no speed in this race at all. He's got barrier number 9, so he'll just cruise across from the outside and do his own thing. That's the advantage he's got. I think Mount Popper will be the better horse in time, but this might be a race like Savatiano last week where this thing just lobs in front and gets left alone and waltzes away. I couldn't possibly take the price, but I think that's the scenario that'll play out.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, for yourself, you're still having nightmares over the last start of all-time legend, or have you recovered by now?
Oh, no, I've recovered. You had to put it behind me. It was awful. It was, everything about it was awful. But one of the things that happens when you have a situation like that everyone in the world is all over is that the horse then goes up a ridiculous price next time out. I think this is a very short price. I really want to be on Mount Popper, but I can see them going a bit position over pace. So they'd probably, if it's going to be a complete walk, they probably don't have to be that far off all-time legend, but you see it a lot. We saw it last week in the slowly run races, Savatiano being one, where they had a sort of set idea of where they were going to be in the run and how many lengths off the lead they were going to be. And that's where they were, despite the fact they were probably going 10 lengths slower than they thought they might have been. So sometimes jockeys and connections can get a bit position. So if that's the case, that could bring Mount Popper undone. He's certainly got a turn of foot, which he has shown in strong paces so far. But if you can do that sort of off a standing start, he might go straight past all-time legend. I think all-time legend's actually better stalking as well. I thought his first up win coming off the fast pace over the shorter trip was far more impressive than when he led second up. And then, of course, he got into all sorts of trouble last start. But, I'm not convinced there's a hell of a lot there with all-time legend. I think had he led all the way last time...
Up in trip?
Sorry?
Would you prefer to see all-time legend going up in trip slightly?
No, I wouldn't actually, no.
No. I'd rather see him not leading, though. Not leading in a good pace. yeah, as I said, I think that was it. That was the most impressed I've been by him, was over the shorter trip in the faster pace. And, you know, he was going to, look, if he was ridden properly last time, he probably wins by a length and a half. He wasn't going to win by 6 or anything, I don't think. So, yeah, I really want to get him beaten, but it does set up beautifully for him.
Okay, very good. Let's have a look at the last race here. Blazer Trails, nominal favourite at $3.50 to Skylab at $5. And you've got Zing and Dabari at around that $9.50 mark. Mark Shean, any edge there in the last race at this stage?
I'm on Skylab at the early price here. I've got a big opinion of this horse. The thing about it, when he won first up, his first 4 runs, he couldn't keep up. But last time, after the first run from a spell, he pinged out and settled about 5th or 6th in the run, which is a huge improvement on what he'd been doing early in a race last time in, when he'd been getting back and flashing home and hitting the line quite strongly. So I think with that break, he's obviously learned a little bit, and I'm hoping he can position up a little bit closer in the run. I think the Perry stable will probably be trying to head him towards a derby, this horse. And I think he's got a lot of upside. The drying track probably not as advantageous against Blazer Trail, but I think that Skylab will give you a good run for your money in the last.
Did you get a bit of exercise and find the local? Because it went up at $11 at the tab.
I was a little bit, I didn't quite get the $11, but I was close.
You enjoy a run.
So pretty handy. Skylab drawn gate 3, Blazer Trail drawn gate 1. Mark Rhoden, do you have an assessment on those 2 horses?
I like Blazer Trail. I think he closed off really well first up. If there's a northeasterly forecast, I think, on Saturday, which can make the inside a bit difficult to negotiate. But if it's not a complete no-go zone, I lean to him. He ran great closing sectionals first up with McDonald on with a soft run. I think he'll be very hard to beat. Skylab has clearly come back a better horse. This is a big jump up in grade. He sat wide that day on a day it was advantageous to, but just looking at my figures, I've got him rating far higher in that first up win than anything he showed in his first prep. So he's obviously heading in the right direction. So he's a danger. And aside from those 2, what did I think? Dabari, Zing, they just sort of are what they are. And Game of Thorns, who will get well back again. But I thought Blazer Trail, for me, I think at better than $3, I'll be backing.
Okay, very good. Mark Shean, I'll get you to throw out a best on the card, whether it's a value bet, best bet, or a lay for the day.
I'm already on Skylab in the last. I think a horse in the first testimonial. I just wish it was 1,100 metres, but I think she is a very good filly. She is a bit slow out of the gates. That's the only thing. But watch out for her in the next couple of weeks as well, heading towards the black type races. But I think she's got a lot of upside. Race 1, number 12. Lays, well, it's a sort of a day where the shorties do look hard to beat. April Rain will win. It'll win race 4. It's a good horse. I'm going to lay a Shima, whatever price it is, in race 5.
Okay, very good. I like it. Mark Rhoden, for yourself.
I'll just make Blazer Trail my best. Interesting to hear Mark say that about testimonial. It was certainly one that caught my eye in race 1. Away, I don't know. Should Written Beauty be $1.30? That seems very, very short to me. But it's nothing to beat, admittedly. Well,
Positive jockey switch again, probably.
Yeah. I think I don't know. You got space boy back to 1,000 metres. It looks a bit short to me.
Okay. Very good. Thank you to you both. We'll now switch to some of the other states around the country, but we'll join both of you on Monday to review the meeting from Randwick. So go well over the weekend to you both. Part 2 here on the Mailbags preview show for the weekend. It's a pleasure to welcome Shane Ciurleo to the program. Curls, there's a lot going on up your way in Queensland. How are you coping?
The fallout continues. Unfortunately, you need to be listening to like proper media providers, like the biggest in the country, not anything to do with racing, other than G Hall, our man, who stepped up and spoke about it. But pretty ugly incident, Curls.
You're talking about the allegedly
allegedly disqualified racing person.
This is the footage that was it first published by Radio 2GB or something, like a non-racing?
Yep. Yeah, I believe so.
Hadley, which I think who also was the first to talk about the Wallace Stable party.
I believe so.
And the incidents there, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Look, racing looks after its own. There's no better industry in the world than the racing industry for looking after its own.
Self-interest governs us all.
It does.
It's strongest. It's not. Is there an industry where it's stronger than racing?
I don't know. Maybe the adult entertainment industry. Maybe I don't know. I don't have any experience in that one. I haven't had to sell my body yet to eat, thankfully. No, look, I think the great example there is some drunk runs out in front of the horses on a track in New Zealand, and if the death penalty was still in play in New Zealand, would be calling for it as an industry.
Every participant in racing felt obliged to go and hammer this bloke, right, and rightly so, probably.
I'm not sure who got the most likes for tweeting about it, but congratulations to the person that did, because I'm sure that was your motivation. Yeah, anyway, look, the footage was pretty damning, wasn't it? Like he's the alleged incident did look pretty damning. He's thrown a few left, right, good nights at a couple of girls, and then it's pretty ordinary behaviour. So be interesting to see what happens from a legal standpoint. I suppose it's easy for the racing industry to say that we have no further comment because it's a legal matter. So we'll forget about it. Something else will happen next week. Same with the Chris Waller stable incident. Chris is as good as anyone at managing the message in the industry, and he has some fairly loud voices that weekly write about him and tell us how good he is and that sort of thing. So it'll quickly be forgotten. Those couple of people that were involved have resigned, I think, from all reports up here. But obviously, being in Queensland, the chat groups were abuzz with the detail. It's probably not worth sharing, other than it's what we would normally refer to as a normal Saturday night in Queensland in racing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to keep it. Like when your organisation's that big, what chance are you of controlling everyone in it? But
for sure. Look, that's all off the track stuff, and I'm glad something's happening off the track, because on the track it's complete dog shit. We've got low grade horses running around in low grade races, and it makes it, sometimes it's a lot of the time, probably is fair to say, it does narrow the chances down in races, and makes it a little bit easier to bet with just a little bit shorter prices. Like we've seen the Eagle Farm carry on. Once again, RaceNet provided a disgruntled trainer with a platform to bag racing in their own state. The latest one was David Van Dyke boycotting Eagle Farm.
Doing a King Kyrgios down the tools.
Yeah, he's put the tools down. And everyone wants to pat him on the back and say what a great bloke. I think Eagle Farm now really represents a betting opportunity, and punters need to stop listening to the noise on social media and start focusing in on the horses that handle. And it's some horses handle it, some don't. So let's just back the ones that do, eh?
So is that where we're going, Kells? Because you've got Eagle Farm, Dalby, you've got Gold Coast, Toowoomba, all there on Saturday. So people getting your stuff are going to be probably outlaying more units than probably the rest of us combined, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a busy day. Pity that Dalby's a non-tab.
Oh.
Yeah. You'll
have a spy on course, surely.
Well, I was going to go out. I wanted to back Morrissey in the 1,000-metre cannonball. It was once a time-honoured race, the 1,000-metre cannonball at Dalby. Now it's worth $4,000 to the winner. So it's lost its mojo. But yeah, look, I just want to use an example at Eagle Farm Race 6 and sort of talk a little bit about the issues you face when you're pricing horses, particularly at tracks like Eagle Farm. So Race 6 is a great example here. If we have, I'm not going to sort of tip anything or suggest a bet in this race just yet. Just one that sort of jumped off the page to me. was having a look at Eagle Farm, and I was looking at a horse number 2, Valario. So one of the cool features that I use on puntingform.com is .au is using the filters, so I can just filter by track, and I can go through and just have a look at how some horses have performed at Eagle Farm. And Valario has got some tasty Eagle Farm form. 2 starts back, it knocked off Socialising. Socialising, who's come out and won since, and then Valario went to a wet track at the Sunny Coast and didn't fire. Prep before, Valario knocked over Solar Star, got within like 5 of Vega 1, in a real hot race. It's beaten Take T, who's won multiple races since. So if you look at Valario's form just on the track, it's like, geez, it's got super form. Obviously, you go from sort of Brad Stewart to Tiff Brooker, which you sort of add a couple of lengths, I suppose, but it's still nowhere near a $17 chance. The map's not the worst. You Make Me Smile was a horse that we're on last start, led, and like, obviously the only thing you don't want to do when you lead in Queensland at these metro tracks, it seems nowadays, is stay anywhere near the fence. It led and stayed on the fence, maybe a little pocket statement there, but it's 460 and the 330 run at the grouse price, and we get knocked off. Now, Socialising was the horse that beat it that day. So the form lines do tie in with Valario. I thought You Make Me Smile sort of probably leads again, hopefully sticks to the fence again, because got horses like Calic and Dr. Zeus and Let's Party Marty. Now, Dr. Zeus and Calic, just looking at the market here, both horses shorter than Valario, and Valario like completely dished them and ate them last time they met. Talking myself into a bet here before I even dig a little bit deeper. Valario's probably going to map 1 out, 1 back. Maybe back the outside of the list.
Enough said. I'm in.
And it's $17. So just the way the Eagle Farm track's been racing, and the horses that have raced well there seem to consistently race well there. So why change? And that's going to be the approach. That's going to be the approach through the whole meeting until this Eagle Farm track gets sorted out. I think they'll race on it through the winter carnival, because they can't change now, and it's probably likely we're up for another renovation. So while it's racing the way it is, stick to that plan, I think.
I love it. Bloody good. Meanwhile, at Caulfield, you've got the Group 1 CF Orr, Jack Dickens. What do you think of the Group 1 feature?
I think it's a really tricky meeting to preview and assess with any confidence yet. There's a lot of rain around in Melbourne at the moment. How much hits Caulfield or Moonee Valley, changes everything. If it's rained through the day tomorrow, like, we see what that does to tracks. It's not good. It's never good. I think Sir Dragonet will start favourite, even though it's 400 metres, just off that trial, and it's going to be wettish, probably, almost certainly. I would have liked to have found and been with Crosshaven, but it's just way too short, I think. But it's got a beautiful little setup here. If it was bone dry or like the rain misses, I think Streets of Avalon's a huge price at $7.50. Huge price. But it's going to rain. It has rained a bit already, and I don't want to be with it on anything worse than a good 4. So certainly not betting, leaning to Sir Dragonet, respect big time Crosshaven, and that's probably where it ends, really.
Okay.
There's a stack of horses here that are first up, or off 90 plus days. I think it's that sort of race where, because it's a group race, you can sort of dig and watch a stack of trials and form an opinion. But if it rains through the day, it'll become real laney, and a lot of that hard work's out the window. So we've seen the trial of Sir Dragonet. Everyone has on racing. Anyone who watches racing in Victoria has seen it. Anyone who's on Twitter has seen it probably 17 times. It went pretty good. So it looks like it's flying.
Okay, great. Because I haven't seen it, so I'll just look at see how it parades in the yard when we're on course tomorrow. Okay, so have you found a bet? Is there any race that you're keen on or more keen than the CF Orr?
Yeah, I think race 1 with the rain around and 400 metres. Skelm wants further, it's fresh. Good idea, needs further, it's fresh. A risk Sonnery first up. Paperboy's deep into a prep, happy to sort of get rid of it. Then you're left with like Marcel from Madrid, Mystery Shot, Imperial Lad, and then Regards Marie, who was enormous last week off a slow tempo. Mystery Shot's up 2 kilos, like big weight. If it's heavy, think we can risk. Imperial Lad, I wanted to find, but couldn't get it anywhere near the price. And it's really hard to price this race and not have Regards Marie like $1.80 or shorter. This would be race 1. I expect the track races fairly, especially early, which is this horse needs. They'll ride it the same way they rode it last week, so you'll be off the speed, you'll be building into the race. There was no tempo there last week, which would be a scare for me here. But because there's going to be no tempo here with all these first up stayers. But that's not going to be a problem for this horse. Mystery Shot might roll and give us a real scare. But I think Regards Marie is a bet there in race 1. You can get $2.40, or you could when I put the prices in.
Yeah, it's best available $2.25 at the moment. So
$2.25, Top Sport. That's good odds. I think it'll start $2 or shorter.
Okay. All right. Very good. We'll be on course. Looking forward to it. Should be a good day, even if it is wet. Just happy to see some of these horses first up and see how they parade. I'm sure we'll find a couple of little edges there during the day. Curls, you've got a million places to bet at over the next couple of days, which is just standard Queensland.
Standard, mate. Friday night, sunny coast. 4 meetings Saturday, Sunday, sunny coast is standard.
Yep.
I think what we spoke about with Mark and the 2 mocks, it's a real important weekend in the Sydney and Victorian racing to get the Mounting Yard Mail. If you want to build a bit of your own database headed towards the next little patch, you need to have your Punting Form subscription, $10 a week, and start to put in some notes of where certain horses are in their preparations. You can start to build a really nice profile and make some of your own decisions over the next sort of month.
Yep. And my notes have been going to waste over the last week, so hopefully the meeting at Pinjarra goes ahead. No reason why it shouldn't, unless something drastic happens this afternoon. But 10 races, 10 of the best, and then we've got Ascot on Sunday. I think Albany's on Monday now, the rescheduled meeting, so a lot happening in WA. Anyway, jump on
We've
board.
got Ballarat on Sunday, which will probably be a complete just must miss with the rain around. That track was awful, Ballarat Cup Day. I don't want to go back there with this rain. Are they blaming the Australian Open for everything in Perth too, or is that just in the eastern states?
I think it's just here. Perth's got a lot going on. Yeah. Besides the COVID scare of the week with the bushfires still there, but there's a bit of rain forecast. Hopefully that helps out over the next couple of days because there's some pretty strong winds otherwise. So, yeah, I don't think they've necessarily blamed the Australian Open. It's a pretty easy target though, isn't it? Rich tennis players.
We're talking about like self-interest and like, is it not peak racing that like racing people are now blowing up about the Australian Open going ahead? When for 12 months we've been praising government and process and procedure to handle racing going ahead throughout the pandemic. Like, it's so racing. It's just so racing.
I'll save this for Monday.
I was going to say, don't pay attention to it. You'll go cross-eyed after a while.
Oh, I actually enjoy it. It makes me have a little giggle.
Yeah. Sometimes it can make you feel human. You know those times where you just think like why didn't COVID wipe us all out?
Peter does that all the time.
I was going to say, that helps me get to sleep.
Peter on Wednesday at Sandown was just like so confused and getting angry whilst there was at least like 1 to 2 security guards to patrons there at Sandown, and he's going like, these are the only little pricks who'll spread this virus in this country. Why are they here?
Let's put more there. We've got so much to look forward to this weekend. There's about 1 million bets to have, so we should worry about it, I suppose.
Yep, exactly right. If you're keen to jump on board, have a crack, sign up through the website. We've also got a survey on at the moment, so if you complete that in full, you'll get a discount to the website, and you can join in Curly Set like many people have done so far for the bargain bin price of $9 for this week if you complete the survey. Yeah, it's not bad. All right, guys, go well. We'll catch up on Monday and review whatever happens over the next 48 hours. Until then, go well.